All right, we've got 3 games on tap for the NBA here on November 7th. Obviously, Thursday, November 7th, we've got the Minnesota Timberwolves going to Chicago. I guess the best game of the day. It's the nationally televised game. Minnesota and Chicago. You have got the Jazz going over to Milwaukee in the Toilet Bowl. We will get to that in a minute. And then we've got the Portland Trail Blazers and the San Antonio Spurs in the nightcaps. Yes, only 3 games here for November 7th, but then we've got a crap ton of games tomorrow on Friday. So let's get into it. 3 games today, and we start things off with the Timberwolves and the Bulls. But before that, folks, make sure to join us in an hour. Yes, in an hour, we'll have our 5 best bets for Thursday's slate of college basketball. So make sure to join us for that video again in an hour time here on the channel. And also go make sure to check out our college football predictions. Link is in the description down below. Our NFL predictions this week and our UFC Fight Night Magny versus Prates predictions as well. All right, let's get into the first of 3 games. We start things off here in Chicago, Illinois at the United Center. You've got the Chicago Bulls taking on the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Bulls right now, I'll be honest with you, I'm recording this during the Bulls game. It's basically over. There's 6 minutes to go, and the Mavericks are up 102-76 over the Bulls. So, you know, I kind of seen enough on that game. I can kind of, base my prediction off of that first game that the Bulls are having in this back-to-back. And I'm taking Minnesota. Guys, the Timberwolves are playing great basketball this season. I know they slipped up last Saturday and lost to the Spurs, but they came back and, beat the Hornets, who just won today and, at the last second against the Detroit Pistons, or yesterday against the Detroit Pistons. Well, for the sake of this video, I'm recording this on Wednesday night, so it is what it is. But the Timberwolves are coming off that win over Charlotte. Now they get Chicago here, and the Bulls, again, coming off the second half of a back-to-back, and I just don't like that for Chicago, especially this is a team now that's going to be on a 3-game losing streak, losing to Brooklyn last Friday, losing to Utah. They're the first team to lose to the Jazz, and the Jazz are going to have been pitiful all season long. Again, we will get to Utah in a minute, but losing to Utah and then getting blown out in Dallas, and now you have the second half of a back-to-back. It's not ideal. Again, I'm high kind of on the Bulls, but, I'm not going to lie. Starting to sell my stock a little bit. But, what do you expect me to do here in this game against the Timberwolves? The Timberwolves should dominate. I get the games in Chicago, but the Timberwolves have been playing better basketball than the Bulls all season long. Obviously, again, the Timberwolves are a team that's expected to make a deep run in the playoffs this season. Obviously, they were in the Western Conference Finals last season. And for the Bulls, obviously, this was a play-in team last year. And for Minnesota, no injuries. Everyone should be playing tomorrow. So we're looking at Conley, Ant, Jaden McDaniels, Julius Randle, Gobert, and then, of course, DiVincenzo, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Naz Reid, amongst others, coming off of the bench. I mean, it's a full squad tomorrow for Minnesota. And for the Bulls, they're still dealing with their injuries. No Zach LaVine in the Mavericks game. We will see if LaVine plays this game against Minnesota. I would expect him to play the second half of the back-to-back, but obviously no Lonzo Ball still. And as a whole, the Timberwolves are just the better team when you match up both Minnesota and Chicago. So I would expect the Timberwolves to go out here and win this game. And I expect another big night out of Anthony Edwards. He's been playing really well this season, obviously, and I think he's averaging around 28-ish, 27 points a game. Gobert averaging 10 rebounds, obviously leading the team there. But you're getting 27 points per game from Ant. You're getting 21.5 from Julius Randle. That's a winning formula. Again, I think the Timberwolves have done all right in their first season without Karl Anthony Towns. Obviously, again, he was the franchise piece for the longest time, former number 1 overall pick. And I think they've done a decent job since Cat has left, obviously via the Randle trade. I'm going to take the Timberwolves to win this game over the Bulls, and the line is sitting at what right now? 7.5. Yeah, I'd expect Minnesota to win this game on the road. The Bulls just have not been playing competitive basketball right now. Again, blown out against the Mavericks. They lose a 9-point game to the Jazz, which is atrocious. And they lose to the Brooklyn Nets again by 8 before that. Yeah, I'd expect the Timberwolves to win this game. I think, again, the Bulls, where they excel, and we'll see where LaVine is at tomorrow, but it's going to be Vucevic, obviously, who's going to probably be the leader, on this, probably going to lead this team in points, maybe Kobe White, but it's either going to be Vucevic or White leading the team in points, and obviously so much of their game relies around Nikola Vucevic. Well, then you got Rudy Gobert lining up against them. I like the Timberwolves to win this game, and they should be able to cover the 7.5 points as well as we go on to the Toilet Bowl. The Milwaukee Bucks versus the Utah Jazz. And yes, I can't believe that I am, putting the Milwaukee Bucks in a game that's considered the Toilet Bowl, but these are the 2 worst teams in the NBA right now. I'm not joking. Record-wise, you look at the last team in the Western Conference, it's the Utah Jazz at 1-6, and the Milwaukee Bucks in the Eastern Conference are in last place at 1-6. Now, one team was kind of expected to be in this spot. I'm looking at the Jazz. The Bucks, it's been a horrid start. Okay? No Chris Middleton doesn't mean you should start 1-6. They won the first game of the season against the 76ers, and they have not won since. Now, I feel like this is a trap taking the Jazz here, but I'm taking the Jazz. Not to win, but to cover. Okay, I feel like this is kind of a trap because the Jazz have been getting blown out almost every other night, but Hear me out. They're coming off a victory. The Jazz just won a game. The Bucks have lost 6 in a row. I get the Jazz just went to Chicago and won, but they won the game by 9 points. You got 33 points out of Keontae George. Keontae George has pretty much led this team in assists every single game when he finally stepped up scoring-wise. So Keontae gave him a 33 last night or 2 nights ago against the Chicago Bulls. I mean, that's great for this Jazz team because they've been struggling to find someone to break through and score for this team. Lauri Markkanen, we'll see if he plays tonight. Obviously, that affects it a little bit if Lauri doesn't play. Lauri hasn't played in a while. He's only played 4 games this season. We'll see if Jordan Clarkson plays. I believe Clarkson should be playing. But we'll see where Lauri Markkanen's at for this one. Because, again, this Utah team without Lauri has struggled to find a number 1 scorer. Maybe that is Keontae George. Maybe it is. Is it John Collins? I don't know. Is it Colin Sexton? At points, it can be Colin Sexton. But I don't know if we can rely on Colin Sexton to be their everyday scorer. He was last season at points, but I don't know. And you look at Milwaukee, right? Again, a team that shouldn't be 1-6. At least you look at them on paper, they shouldn't be 1-6. But the problem is, it's all Giannis and it's all Damian Lillard. Giannis averages 31, 12, and 6. Dame averages 28, 5, and 7. And your next leading scorer is Bobby Portis with 12, Brook Lopez with 10 or 11, Taurean Prince with 8. It's bad. Gary Trent's not producing. He averages 8 points a game as well. That's not a winning formula, guys. It's just not. It's not a winning formula at all for the Milwaukee Bucks. So they got to figure it out. This is the game where they can try to figure it out, and they should figure it out. I mean, Doc Rivers, we're looking at you. Figure this thing out. I think they should beat the Utah Jazz, but for a team that's struggling to buy a win, I'm not going to rely on them winning this game by double digits. I get their only win this season was against the Sixers, and they won it by 15 points. And I know they're playing the Utah Jazz. But until they find production outside of Giannis and Lillard, we're not going to pick this team to cover. We'll take them to win, obviously. What are they? -3. Okay, I butchered that. It should be -375 on the screen. I'm not taking the Jazz in any slide. Any imagination, we're not taking the Jazz. I'm taking the Jazz to cover. We're taking the Bucks to win the basketball game. Again, we will see the production they get outside of Dame, outside of Giannis. Who on this team is going to step up and be the number 3? Until Middleton comes back. I don't know. Guess we're going to find out. But give me the Bucks to win, but give me the Utah Jazz to cover the 9.5. Personally, guys, stay away from this game. Again, don't bet on 2 1-6 teams. I would stay away. But give me Milwaukee to win, but give me Utah to cover. As we go on to the final game of the night, all these games, by the way, are at 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. You've got the Portland Trail Blazers and the San Antonio Spurs. Don't know why we couldn't have spread these out a little bit more. I get they're all in the Central Time Zone, but still. You get San Antonio and you get Portland. I mean, the Spurs, yikes, yesterday. I mean, I did take San Antonio to cover. Didn't go our way. They lost by 27 against the Rockets. They were competitive in the first 2 games. They go to Houston, they get destroyed. Maybe I need to start putting some more respect on the Houston Rockets. Truly, maybe I need to start doing that. You look at the Portland Trail Blazers. They are 3-5, but they're coming off a victory on the road against the New Orleans Pelicans. Anybody can beat the New Orleans Pelicans, though. I mean, truly. I mean, we pick against the Pelicans every single night for a reason, guys. The Cavs beat them. Cavs are still undefeated. We got that one right. We pick against New Orleans every single game we get. The Trailblazers are 3-5. 2 of their wins come by the Pelicans. The other one is on the road in Los Angeles. A really good game they played that night. Anthony Simons, of course, is the man. DeAndre Ayton is pulling down every single rebound, thrown his way, obviously. And I think they actually beat the Spurs. The Spurs looked piss poor in that game against the Rockets. Wembanyama led their team in points with 15. I get they had injuries. No Devin Vassell, no Trey Jones. We'll see if they play again tonight against Portland, but I'm willing to bank on the fact that the Trailblazers can win this game. Guys, the Trailblazers play gritty basketball and they win. They've got guys who can shoot. It's a team effort. It's a collective effort. Anthony Simons, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Scoot Henderson, Denny, Kamara. They've got guys who can put the ball in the hoop. Delano Banton. I mean, they've got guys. Donovan Clingan is playing too. I mean, he's not really a scorer, but I mean, he'll play some solid defensive minutes for you as well. I don't mind this Blazers team right now. At the beginning of the season, I said they were absolutely horrible. Well, they've proved me wrong. They've been winning games and given 2 of them are against New Orleans, but if anything, the Spurs have really fallen back down to earth. They have, right? San Antonio, I was high on them after they beat the Jazz and they beat the Timberwolves in back-to-back games. They beat the Rockets earlier on in the season, but now they've lost 2 in a row, and they kind of feel like, this is where the Spurs are right now. Again, the injuries hurt them, I understand, but I think the Spurs are going to kind of start to fall back down to earth, and I get it. It's not great picking the Portland Trailblazers considering this is a team preseason that wasn't supposed to be all that great either, but I'm willing to take a shot here with the Blazers. I think they're able to win this game. I think, again, the more confident pick I have is plus 4.5. Relying on Portland to straight up win this one is rough. I think this game will be competitive. I think Portland will take them down to the wire. Again, having them straight up win the game, though, is a little bit difficult, but I am willing to pick it here. Give me the Portland Trail Blazers to win the game, and obviously, again, that's an added bonus, but we're going to take them to cover the 4.5 points on the road as well. So we're going to be fading the Spurs now. Give me the Portland Trail Blazers to win, and also, again, it's the second half of a back-to-back for San Antonio. Okay, Portland just played on, Monday? So they've had 3 nights off, and now they're going into this game against the Spurs. Portland's well-rested, and San Antonio's playing a back-to-back. I do like the Blazers in this spot. I think these teams are even, but I do like Portland to win this game considering the circumstances, if I can get that word out. So that'll do it, folks, for our three predictions here for November 6th. Make sure to join us tomorrow, or November 7th, excuse me. Make sure to join us tomorrow for our Friday picks here in the NBA. Make sure to join us in an hour for our college basketball best bets, 5 of them here on the slate today. So, folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do disagree with any of the picks. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.